Welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and you know, it's nice to get back to our original set.
I know, yeah, we've kind of had the holiday thing going on.
We did a lot. I didn't realize it, but my goodness, we've been changed because we started in September with fall, didn't we?
We did fall, we did Christmas, we did winter, we did
Thanksgiving, Valentine, winter.
Yeah. Now we're back to just kind of a vintage
look
back
with
to
our
some
vintage,
happy flowers, and we got our pearls on the table.
Yeah.
And I love pearls.
I like pearls too.
Mm-hmm.
I do like pearls. I like those. I'd love to be able to wear a set that's like the choker, but I can't wear any necklace around my neck. I swear, if I believed in reincarnation, I would think I was one of the witches back in Salem was hung.
You were hung?
Yeah.
Or strangled.
Or strangled, because I cannot stand anything around my neck. If I can't put a necklace on that way.
Oh, really?
Oh, my gosh. I remember one time, funny story, right? So I remember one time I had a necklace on. It wasn't even like it was like a choker, and but like it hung down a little bit, and I had my nails on. I wear fake nails sometimes, and I had my nails, and I couldn't get that thing off, and I went into a massive panic.
Oh, no.
And I was finally just like,
oh, my gosh.
It panicked me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, everybody's different. Now, I have a
You wear that all the time.
I never take it off. I don't even take it off to shower or anything. I don't even know it's there.
Really?
It's just there. I don't even feel it.
Yeah, and then because some people, could you sleep in earrings?
Oh yeah, the earrings never come out either.
Nothing. No, my Aunt Barb, my mom's sister Barb Cunningham, she was a jewelry freak, and she slept in earrings and rings and the whole thing.
I never take any of my jewelry off.
Really?
None of it. I take the bracelet on all the time.
Yeah.
The earrings, all three. I have 3 in each ear. They're in all the time. They don't bother me.
I got this little bracelet I've had on for a while, and I have an ankle bracelet because it's that jewelry that.
You can't. That's what these two are. You can't.
They're
take
nice.
them off.
They're strong. Yeah, I like that because otherwise my hands are too. I never can. It's not coordinated anymore.
Right. Yeah. No.
I don't know what happened to my coordination.
I never had any to start with, so I don't miss it.
I wouldn't say I was horrible. I wouldn't say I was uncoordinated, but man, all of a sudden it's like I don't even know what's happening.
I think we're getting old.
Womp, womp, womp. Yeah, womp. I think it is happening because it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, Well, the other day, speaking of getting old, it's like, okay, so I went to Dr. Woolley a couple years ago. He's like, Stacey, everything's fine. He said, but you're just, you have to have the cheaters. Like everybody does. Everybody does when you get to a certain age. I'm like, okay, but I've been cheating for a while doing those cheaters. But I'm noticing, and it's really weird. It's like in the morning, my eyes are blurry. And at church, I don't know if it's like that dim, like
because it's a little dim in there.
Because it's dim in there, and like the whole time, like everything's completely blurry sometimes. And so anyway, I was. There was a young lady that was at our church the other day, and I was up on the stage, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's so-and-so. I'm like, I was going to say something to her afterwards, So I just kind of waved, And
I think I know where this is going.
And so anyway, I was talking to her mother. Her mother texted me. Her mother lives in another state. We went to high school together, and her mom was texting me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I saw so-and-so today. Oh, I didn't realize she was blonde. And she's like, she's not blonde. And I'm like,
who did I see?
Who she's not. Well, so that was 2 weeks ago. And then she came back this Sunday, and I was walking I was up front, and then I was walking past. It's her sister.
Oh.
So I was like, well, hey, how are you doing? I said, oh my gosh. But at first, so here I am, like, I'm far away from her. I'm like going. So note to self, if you see me and I'm doing this,
Stacey needs real glasses.
I'm trying to focus on who it is. Some people must think I'm rude because I'm seriously like
you need to go back and see Dr. Woolley.
I know, but surely I don't.
Stranger things have happened, Stacey.
I just need to go where it's completely bright.
Right. That could be too, because I've been told, like, as you get older and you have reading glasses and stuff, the light plays an important part.
Well, it's just like even in the studio, everything's a little bit.
Yeah.
And I usually pick my readers just by cuteness.
Yes.
Now I actually need to pay attention to the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
I guess they have.
They do have numbers.
They have numbers on there for a reason.
Yes, they do.
Right now I'm at the 2.5.
Whoa.
What, is that a lot?
Yeah.
That's a lot?
Yeah, because I'm only at like 1. I can get by with 1.5, and sometimes I'm at 1.75.
Yeah, mine are 2.5, and I think they need to even go a little bit.
I don't think they go any higher than that on cheaters.
I think they go to 3.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God! So wait a minute. Are you saying that once I get to the top of my cheaters?
I'm talking about Coke bottle glasses, Stacey, for you.
Every day it's a getting stronger. Yeah, like Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
I'll have my Buddy Holly glasses on.
Yeah.
I would rock some super cool cat eye glasses.
Yeah, you would. I'll just start calling you my buddy.
Buddy Holly. Just call me Buddy Holly. But just don't think I'm rude, because I'm not a rude person. But if I stare at you somewhere, I'm trying to focus and see who you actually are.
She's just trying not to be blind.
I'm one of those type people anyway that I can just stare at you, and I can just like be staring at somebody and not even realize that I'm staring at them, and I'm in deep thought on something else.
Oh, yes. I do
and
that
I just
too.
get fixated, and then they're like,
and
I'm like, oh, I'm
I kind of tend to do that at restaurants. Like, I'll just kind of be like staring off into space and like thinking about something. I might even be thinking about like what I'm going to order, and I'll just be like, and then there's like somebody across. They're like, why is she staring at me going like that? So
yeah, I do that too. By the way, we're apparently both blind and we're both stairs. But yeah, it's just kind of funny.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh. What Facebook?
What
that
now?
meme. Okay, so the Super Bowl thing.
Oh yes.
Oh,
so if you guys need to follow us on Facebook, because there's a funny meme on there I made last night.
How did you do that?
I have a meme. I have an app. There's an app for that, Stacey, and I have it. I use it for work. I use it for my other job, and so I just made a meme. It was that picture of Travis Kelce.
It's funny. That's
where he's screaming at his coach.
I think Ty's gonna try to find it for us.
Yeah, so I made it into a meme, and I put it on our Facebook page, and it got a lot of laughs.
Clever little girl. I thought that was the funniest thing.
Yes, yeah.
There it is.
Getting it up here. Let's see if he can.
You did that.
Yes. So, yeah. I want to watch By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Don't freak out. Episodes air daily at 11 on Wabash, or they're on YouTube.
I mean, that was. What even possessed you?
Oh, I made a whole bunch of those last night with the same photo. So on my day job, I work for Nancy's Notions. That's a sewing website. If you're interested in that, you can follow me on social media at Nancy's Notions. But there's also a website, nancysnotions.com. But anyway, I made a post about fabric scissors, and I have Travis Kelce and he's screaming, "I told you not to use my fabric scissors!" And the coach is like, "I'm sorry."
Oh my gosh!
And then I made one for. A bus. I also lead a bus trip each summer, and right now we're taking registration for that. It's a quilting bus trip for quilters and sewers. And this year we're going to Indiana, and the bus is almost full. So I have Travis yelling at the coach, "I told you to get signed up for that bus trip," and the coach is like, "I'll call tomorrow." So I was on a roll, you guys. I was on a roll.
I had no idea there was a meme app.
Oh, yeah, I can make a meme about anything.
That is crazy.
Yes.
That's why you're the technical side of this duo.
That's right.
Because I can barely send a picture to Ty.
You've improved. You're much better.
I can do better.
You're better. Let's do an ad. We always kick off our show with an ad. What do we got today?
Well, we got. I found this Pyrex.
Oh, I love Pyrex.
Look at this. $3.
Oh, $3.50 for that set. You know what that set goes for these days?
I can't even imagine.
It's usually between $80 and $90 if they're in good shape, I believe. I've seen them higher than that. It kind of depends on the shape that they're in. But go ahead and read the ad, and then I have a story about these bowls.
Yeah, special. $3.50 Pyrex Wear Color Bowl Set. I love them. My mom had them. I wish I had them. Now you can get it for only $2.40. World's most famous mixing bowl set at almost a third off. Wow. Just in time for Mother's Day. Pyrex Wear. That's from Corning Glassworks, Corning, New York. But you can get this whole set for $2.49.
I wish. I'd buy 500 of them.
What would I do with
them? I'd give one to everybody I know.
They're hard to find. When we were cleaning out Paula's mom's house, we found a set.
What? I hope she kept it.
Oh, she did. I think, she took them. Yeah. How neat, though.
What's that little shop called Antique Treasures right next to Glitzy Girls downtown.
Oh, yeah.
There's a booth in there, and they have a set right now if you're interested. But
they do?
Or they did a couple of weeks ago. So these bowls are the best bowls ever. I use them daily. I have a set. My grandmother gave them to me, my
cool.
Rose Strike, and her thing was for every granddaughter, she bought them a set of these. So like even up to the years that she passed away, she was still buying these when she found them and setting them aside for each granddaughter that hadn't gotten married. I think she gave them to us at our weddings. But anyway,
cool.
Every granddaughter ended up with them, and I would have to ask my mom, but I kind of feel like she might have started doing it for granddaughters, great-granddaughters too.
So they still make those sets? Is Pyrex?
No, she would find ones at auctions and resale shops and stuff.
Oh my gosh,
the real deal.
Okay, so you can't buy Pyrex anymore.
You can buy Pyrex, but not that Pyrex, not that set. Yeah. Not that I know of. No, Pyrex is still a thing. I mean,
yeah, because I've got some Pyrex. I remember.
Oh yeah, the 9x11.
The 9x11 glass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Their measuring cups are good. Like there's a lot of Pyrex stuff that I use on a regular basis, but you cannot beat that bowl set.
Well, they're just cool.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're like I said, my mom had the whole set, but I'm not sure what happened to. I don't know. I think I may have one. I don't know. I don't think the set's together. I can't really remember what happened to them. But then, like I said, Pat had the whole set. And,
Good. Yeah. That's a good thing for Paula to keep forever.
Yeah.
She'll really use them too. They are indestructible.
Like that, where you could throw it across the floor and it doesn't break.
I wouldn't, but they're very strong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Do you remember what that set was worth there at the antique place?
I think it was around $80.
That's not too bad. I guess not. Well, back then, I mean, you could have bought them for $2.
$1.50 or whatever.
$2.49.
Yeah. Talk about inflation.
Wow.
What year do you think that was? Did it have a year on it?
Yeah, it was in the 50s.
Yeah.
I pulled that ad from the 50s. So Pyrex has been around a really long time.
Yes, it has. There's collectors that collect the old Pyrex, like the real pretty that have the print on there. Those are beautiful.
Yeah, I have some of those too. Yeah. I do have some of those bowls and stuff. And
yeah.
I don't know. I like my what? Ty, did you say something? No. I thought he was gonna. I thought Ty was gonna chime in on the antique side of things.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe he was gonna chime in and say that he also had a set of Pyrex bowls.
He probably does. Yeah. I just have to keep my husband from. He's turning into an old man.
Oh.
Because now I'm like, I like my dishes to be glass dishes in the cabinet.
He wants plastic?
Oh, my gosh. Every time he rinses out, he buys these big tubs of cottage cheese and that type. I'm like, we do not need cottage. It's not the Depression. I don't need cottage cheese container.
What's he doing with them?
Well, because when we have people over on Sunday night, so they can take stuff home, I said they can reuse their own. So I went through there the other day and just pitched it all because I'm like, lids. I mean, come on.
Well, the thing is, though, you could always take those up to the church because we use those a lot of times, like after a meal.
I will take. I will bring them all to the church because I have to throw things away with Jim a little bit at a time. Otherwise he knows. And
Sneak him up there.
He's a dumpster diver. But we're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to be right back. And I can't even remember what we're going to talk about right now.
We got some important people to talk about.
We'll be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Give me all the lumber. Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and we've picked some, I don't know, we just picked some random men, didn't we, today?
Yeah, we did. Some influential men in Clay County's history. That should be today's title.
Yeah.
Influential men. We're going to focus on two. So, I picked one, Stacey picked one, and we kind of just dived into like their past and what they did for Clay County. And, you know, we don't want people that played an important role in the county to be forgotten.
No, not at all.
And so that's what we're going to talk about.
Well, and you know, when you start doing research and things, and it's some of the people that I'm going to start talking about are from like the 80s too, because I mean, that's a long time.
Way back in the 80s when I was but a fair lass.
Yeah, like seriously, 40 years. I've already had the conversation. You know, I graduated in 85. Next year is my 40th class reunion.
You almost couldn't say it.
40. I mean, I only graduated. I mean, I was 12.
Yeah, right. Girl genius over here.
That's right.
Who are you going to talk about?
Well, you know, it was so funny. Okay, so I was like, there's so many, a big conversation today, I think, is the medical field.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, a lot of people be like, you know, we have a lot of nurse practitioners, right? So it's hard to, I mean, we don't have doctors.
Right. We have doctors, but they are fewer and further between.
And far between. And so I was like, I found this article, Early Doctors of Clay County. So I'm going to kind of read about a little bit of everyone, but then I'm going to focus on one gentleman here. But I mean, I was shocked to find out how many doctors were in Clay County. I mean, Flora, Louisville, Xenia, Oskaloosa. Everybody had doctors. So I was going to talk a little bit about some of the early doctors in town.
Okay,
I'll just start. Okay. In the early 1900s, the town was blessed with a number of dedicated professional men. Dr. James M. Boyles, who had a practice in Louisville, but then he moved his practice to Clay County, to Flora. I was going to say Clay County.
Okay, so Boyles. Started out in Louisville.
I'm going to talk about Dr. Boyles.
Okay.
Dr. Boyles was a very kind and gentle man, mild in manner, soft of voice, and seemed to be in deep thought most of the time. Well, reason why I want to talk about because I wonder if Dr. Boyles got in deep thought and just stared at people.
Yeah, he was probably like, wonder what they have.
So we had Dr. Boyles in town. Then we had across the street from Dr. Boyles, there was Dr. Charles Duncan.
Okay, I have not heard. I've heard of Boyles. I had not heard of Duncan. They were across the street from each other on which street?
In Flora. It's weird because it's like this was downtown Flora. It says like one was on the North 100 block, the other one was on the South 100 block. And you know, like when you go downtown, like a lot, they're upstairs. Like most of the buildings downtown have a second story.
Yeah.
There were a ton of doctors and on the second. And
Wouldn't
dentists.
that be awful if you were going to the doctor for a broken leg?
Yeah, because there were no
You
elevators.
had to go up all the stairs to see the guy. Okay.
Think about it for a minute.
Yeah.
Dr. Charles Duncan, who specialized in eye, ear, nose, and throat. So, so he was a specialist in town.
So we had an ENT in town, and this is like the 1800s?
Right around the turn of the century, late 1800s, 1900s.
Okay.
This is funny about Dr. Charles Duncan was called Dr. Chot, C-H-O-T Duncan, rather than Charles. Dr. Duncan wanted only a limited practice, took life very easy.
Oh.
Married a lady from Charleston, Illinois, was the father of 2 boys and a daughter. One of the boys dying in infancy.
Aww.
And when he retired, the family moved to Charleston, the home of his wife.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to talk about, this one is Dr. N.W. Bowman, the younger Dr. Ty. I sent a picture of Dr. Bowman in here. We hear a lot about the Bowman family. They're very prominent in Florida.
There were two. There were two Bowman families.
There were two.
They
Bowman.
were not related to each other.
This is the doctor, because we've done the Bowman family that was the hardware store.
Yes, this is a different family.
Mm-hmm. He comes from a line of doctors. Well, I'm gonna, before I talk about him, Ty, go back to the older picture, because I want to show you a picture of his grandfather. So this is J. Bowman, M.D., born 1819, came to Illinois in 1865. This picture was taken in November 1868, and then he died in 1881.
Okay,
this is one of the first
Civil War era right
this
here.
Is Civil War era.
He came to Illinois at the same time the Civil War was going on.
Yeah, he came to Clay County. So he came to Clay County in 1865. So he was here. When were we? 11 years after the city of Flora.
Okay.
Clay County, where
quick
Flora
question:
was
did
discovered.
he serve in the Civil War?
I did not find a lot of stuff about him, but what I like this picture I find very interesting. This Mr. Bowman. How much you want to bet he was a part of the Masons? Look where his hands tucked at.
Oh, yeah.
See, like when you're part of the Masonic Lodge, you'll notice, like, you can guarantee, and I couldn't find a lot about him. I don't even know where he's buried. Neither one of these men on Find a Grave. There was nothing mentioned about him. But I do know that J. Bowman, M.D., was the grandfather of Dr. N.W. Bowman, who I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But I just thought this picture was interesting.
Yeah.
But he was literally like one of the very first. No, because we talked about doctors prior, and doctors were dentists and they were barbers and they were everything.
Right.
Now the medical field is actually coming where they are real medical doctors. But I guarantee you he was a Mason because his hands tucked in his shirt there.
Yeah, that or he had a bad bellyache.
I'm gonna go with the Mason.
Okay. Okay.
If you look at the Masonic lodges, them old ones, they have their hands tucked anyway. So anyway, I wanted to show you that picture.
So looking at him though, just conversation wise, this is the time in our country where if you had a leg injury like in the Civil War, they would cut it off with a chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
And so imagine this guy, he's had to do stuff like that, I'm sure.
Oh, I can't even imagine his life. Being
a doctor was not a glamorous thing. I bet the majority of his patients died just because not because it's his fault. Because of the time, they didn't have medicine or antibiotics or surgery techniques or anything like that. So he was probably a really brave guy.
I imagine he was.
And he had to face a lot of stuff, I bet. So I like him.
I like him, too.
He's pretty cute, too.
He is a handsome man.
I think his cheeks are rosy.
They are rosy.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay, so now we can go back to the other picture, Ty. Because I've got you all backwards in there. So then now we're going to go to this is Dr. N.W. Bowman. Okay, let's see. They called him Lovable Doctor. N.W. Bowman, who lived on East 2nd Street in the house that he built for both his office and his home, and where he raised his family of 3 girls and 1 boy. If Dr. Bowman ever refused to administer to anyone, be it human or dog, nobody ever knew of it. So basically, he took care of people and animals. He never refused anybody.
And his home on East 2nd Street is not there anymore. But as I understand it, it was next to where the Harris home is.
I believe so.
That we had an episode on the Harris home. There's an empty lot next to their home that they have a fence around now and using it as part of their yard. I believe that lot is where he lived.
I believe you're right. He was a humanitarian deluxe and took time for every occasion that required his skills. He was a family doctor, and he stood by by everybody through trials and tribulations that any family went through, including many broken bones, sickness, and an accidental gunshot wound that came near to ending a 14-year-old's life.
Oh.
I think we've read about that. Remember, wasn't there a 14-year-old in one of our newspaper columns? I feel like that happened. Dr. Bowman's life and practice, you could write a complete book on. He was a proud and dedicated individual and will long be remembered. He was the 2nd doctor in Florida to have an automobile.
Oh, cool.
It was a Pratt Elkhart, 2 seats, 1 high in the back, and he came after, he drove to that. He drove into the boy, the 14-year-old boy that was shot. He actually drove his car and picked up the boy who was shot in his brand new car.
Oh my gosh!
3 miles south of Flora. He was a dog lover, and always had one or more with him at all times, even on house calls. Long will he be remembered.
Oh, that's cool. So he took his dogs with him to house calls.
Yeah,
maybe they were kind of like service dogs and like soothe somebody, you know, like go give them a kiss. Like just some people are calmed by that.
He just looks like a really nice.
He does look like a nice man.
And I can't see. He's got a lapel.
You can't see.
He's got a lapel pin, but I have no idea. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And then I just want to mention a little bit. This guy we've touched on, so that's Dr. Bowman. He was the main guy that I wanted to talk about, him and his grandfather, because I thought that was interesting. You know, like I said, the only doctor, like traveling, picking up gunshot wounds, and you know, because he was born in 1872 and died in 49. So he lived a nice life, but yeah. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about Dr. Fairchild. Remember we mentioned about Dr. Fairchild a little bit? Was another one of our esteemed doctors and practiced here for many years. His office was just west of what is now the Vaughn Building. So you know where the big Vaughn Building is there on North Main Street? It would have been just west there. So it's probably
where the bank is?
Well, either that in between that lot. Yeah. He built one of the better homes on North Main Street where he raised one daughter, Effie. So, you remember when we did the houses on the oldest house in town and then the house across the street? And this is Dr. Fairchild's home. Remember Effie was married in that one?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to touch a little bit on them, who later became the wife of another one of our local doctors, Dr. Rolla Finch. Like other doctors at the time, no call was ever refused, money or no money, mostly no money, and everyone was given the same consideration. Dr. Fairchild later drove a baby overload coupe and always carried several concrete blocks in a trunk to make the ride easier and hold the back down. He was rather of retiree nature, and most of his time was spent in the practice of his profession. He was a very fine gentleman.
Aw.
I mean, you just read back of all these doctors that we have. But yeah, that was like the house that Jack Meyer lived in. Dan Sulzberger lives in, and then I don't know who lives in the house right across the street. Like you have Dan Sulzberger and Jack Myers, but then to the south of that, when you cross that big yellow 2-story house that bankers used to live in there.
It's for sale right now.
Is it for sale again?
Oh no, I'm thinking of the other yellow one.
No, go back to the south.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you have the original house, the house that Perry owned.
Yes.
And then right across the street's the big Victorian yellow. Then across the street on the same side of the street, you have Dan Sulzberger and Jack Meyer's house. The Fairchilds built all 4 of those homes.
Yeah, and the Becks currently live in
there,
the Meyer home.
I mean, but yeah, you could just go down. I mean, it's unreal, the amount of doctors that we had in town.
That's cool.
Yeah, but we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank. We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend, and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We have been talking about influential men in the past. Stacey just finished talking about some of our doctors that we had way back when. And now we're going to fast forward a whole bunch of years. And we're going to talk about a man in more recent history, although he has passed away. He's not here anymore. But his name is George Franklin Duff. Okay, George Duff. So some of you watching this may remember George because he did not pass away until 2002. So he's a more recent figure. He was born in Florida in November of 1922. And then he passed away in December of 2002. And there's a lot of different aspects of this guy. He loved his hometown is really the bottom line. He loved Florida, even though he grew up. He went on to do a bunch of other things, big things that we're going to talk about. But he had a special connection to Florida. And so as he got older and he had some extra money, he remembered Flora, and he actually donated a ton of money to different things here in Flora. Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But okay, so during World War II, he served in the Army Air Corps as a B-17 pilot in the 8th Air Force. So he was a fighter pilot in World War II. Wow. Like, big job, okay? Let's see, he was stationed in England, but he flew many bombing missions deep into German territory. So here he is, like this young kid, and he's flying this. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the B-17 for any pilot during World War, any pilot any pilot during World War II. I just really am like, wow, I can't even imagine. I can't, because they weren't very. They're still kids in my mind. Like a lot of them were still teenagers or early 20s,
18, 19.
And I just, now that I have a child that's like almost 19 years old, I'm like, they're babies. They're babies.
Right.
You know,
absolutely.
But he was doing big things even then. So, let's see. He was raised here in town on East 5th Street in the 300 block, and that house is still there. So I actually sent in a picture of the house. I don't know who lives there now, but somebody might recognize the house. Ty, do you care to put that picture up? Yeah, so this is in the 300 block of East 5th, and this was George Duff's home. This is where he was raised. It's the next to the last house on the south side of the street, right before you get to Mill Street, if that means anything to anybody. But he went away to college, and then he served in the military. And then once the war was over, he started a career with Eastern Airlines. Thank you, Ty. Which was based in New York. So he learned to fly during the war, and then now he became this commercial pilot with Eastern Airlines at a time where people were really starting to fly more, I think. He got the opportunity after a while to transfer to Miami, which is where he did transfer to, and he ended up living there and staying there. So he's no longer in Clay County. He's living in Miami, and he's a pilot. He's doing big things. And he's not cold. He's not living in the snow. He is living in Miami. So his family also owned an apartment home here in Florida called the Duff Apartment House. I'm not real sure where that is, but some of you may remember that. And he had a brother named John Duff and two sisters, Maxine McDonald. She was the wife of Dr. Edward McDonald, and then Sarah Hodges of Champaign. And I think all of his siblings have passed as well. But so I spoke to a man by the name of Bill McDonald, and Bill may be watching this today. He was George's nephew.
Okay.
And so he gave me a lot of information on him, and a lot of things that maybe the regular person that knew George might not have known. And I do want to mention that George is buried in Elmwood Cemetery. He came back here to be buried. So George loved music, and he played the bagpipes. And I think that's cool. He also played the organ, the guitar, and the clarinet.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was a
very musical.
talented musician. He belonged, and I didn't even know this was a thing, he belonged to a bagpipe club.
There's a club for everything.
There really is.
There is a
isn't
club
there?
for everything, yes.
He belonged to a bagpipe club based in Miami that participated in numerous parades and military events.
Okay, I'm sorry. Bagpipes and Miami don't seem like they go together very well.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He was very interested in his family history, and he's traveled several times to Edinburgh, Scotland, where the Duff clan originated. In Outlander, there are Duffs. There are Duffs.
There are Duffs in the TV show Outlander.
That's a historical fiction about Scotland. Okay. He did retire from Eastern Airlines, and he worked there for 35 years as a pilot. He loved to read, and he was considered very knowledgeable on several subjects, especially Shakespeare and anything financial. Financial, okay? So this guy knew what to do with money, and he set up a substantial trust fund to benefit the Flora Public Library. Really? So if you go into the Flora Public Library, you will see right as you enter through the second, if you come in through the back where the double doors are, and then you come through the second door and you're now into the main area of the library. If you make a quick left, he's right there on the wall. Ty, do you care to show us that picture of George Duff, please, so everyone can see who we're talking about? Oh, well, this is, let's look at this one.
Let's look at this picture.
This is from the war. This is when he was a fighter pilot. This is a young George Duff. So this is just this young kid. I'm sure the boys that are watching this now that are that age are like, I'm not a kid, but when you're as old as we are, it's like you're young. you're young. And
that's a cool picture.
That is a very cool picture. So he served our country and survived and through the war and went on to do great things. Let's see the other picture too, Ty, please. There he is. This is the George Duff that many of you may remember. This is him in his later years, and this is a large framed portrait right inside the Flora Public Library. Why is there a big picture of him hanging in the library? Is because he donated a lot of money to the Flora Public Library after, when the new library was built. He had a big hand in that and financing what they needed to do. So he wanted that any contributions be made to the trust fund that he has established, and that it would become a perpetual sustaining source to provide cultural and educational advantages to the children of Flora, Illinois. So I believe that this trust fund is still a thing. It's still there.
It's probably still growing.
And and it's still growing, and they use it to do certain things at the library probably. I'm not positive on that, but his goal was a sustaining source to provide cultural and education advantages for the children of Flora. So thanks, Ty. Even though he didn't live here. He hadn't lived here since he was a teenager.
Right. Yeah, he didn't raise his family here.
But his heart was here. And he wanted to better the lives of the children in Flora and the adults too, because he went on to do other things. And I also suspect that he's one of those men who we're probably not even touching the tip of the iceberg on what he donated to. I think that he was probably a man that for the most part kept things a little on the quiet side and financed things that people don't even know.
Right.
But two of the big ones were the Flora Public Library and the Flora Historic Depot.
And the depot.
So he was the very first person to donate money to the cause of the depot restoration. And that was in 2009. even before the grant money came in, it is in the City of Flora minutes that Jack Thatcher was at a city council meeting, and he explained that they're working on the grant. The grant isn't here, but they had already received a substantial amount from George Duff.
Right.
And that amount was at least $100,000. So
$100,000, guys. Yeah.
And that is why they went ahead and named the community room that's on the second floor of the depot the George Duff Community Room is the name of that room. Basically the entire second floor of the depot. And you've probably attended a wedding shower or a birthday party or something in that room. I know we have a bridal shower coming up now that is going to be held there. So thank you, George Duff, for that. What am I missing on him? Let's see. I might have covered the big things, but he did enlist. Back to the war stuff, I kind of skipped over some of that. He enlisted in 1942, so he was not drafted. He enlisted. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant after completing flight training, which included 75 hours in the T-6 Texan, which was known as the Pilot Maker. And in combat, he flew the Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress with the 482nd Bomb Group of the mighty 8th Air Force.
Wow.
So he was stationed at the Royal Air Force, Alconbury in Cambridgeshire, East Anglia, England.
How many children did he have? Does it go on to talk about his children?
You know what? I didn't write down any information about children.
Because he would have raised all of his family. And so he was born here as a teen and then was here as a teenager. We saw his childhood home. He goes into the military. He ends up going to Miami. He raises his family, whatever he does down in Miami. So his feet never touched Clay County soil ever again standing. He came back here. He didn't live here as a retiree, did he?
No, he didn't. No.
So he literally...
He left when he was a teenager, and he came back sporadically to visit, I think, and then he was buried here.
And then
basically, that's it.
Basically, that's impressive for somebody that's gone at a teenager and then to love his community so much.
Yes, and I think, I didn't write this part down, but I think at some point he might have even been a chiropractor, but I don't remember. Greg Hagan is a chiropractor that was from here, and he mentioned something somewhere along the line about that. But he talked to him when he came back to Flora one time, and this is something Greg posted on Facebook, and he asked him, "Why do you donate so much to Flora?" And his answer was, "Every time I think about Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, it brings back his quote." And he said, "I'm kind of like Dorothy. There's no place like home."
Wow.
So he loved Flora and he loved Clay County. And I'm gonna check about the children. I don't really remember seeing that, but I might have been there. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was a reader. He knew about money. He was a pilot. He was a veteran. He was
music.
He loved our hometown. He did a lot of cool things. He was a good guy. So he is one that we don't want to forget. And next time,
want to forget him.
Yeah, next time you're in the depot, visit the George Duff Memorial or George Duff Community Room, or if you're in the library, check out that photo, and there's a plaque next to it on the wall that talks a little bit about George and the good things that he's done in Clay County. So, yeah,
we'll take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Pegel's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have Galaxy Bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Pegel Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Rural King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Rural King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I do want to add one thing on George Duff is that I remember now that when I did the research, I didn't find any record of a wife or children.
Okay.
But he is buried along with his parents in Elmwood Cemetery. His dad passed away in 53 and his mother in 54.
Maybe
and so they're all buried together. So he may have stayed single. I'm not sure. So I'm sorry if that's wrong information. I just didn't find it in my research. So
right, yeah.
Anyway,
that's
still great
very,
guy.
Very interesting.
Glad to get to cover him.
Well, he probably didn't have any children. That's why he had money.
Yeah, well, true. Kids are expensive.
Kids are expensive.
So,
but you know, it's one of those things when we talk about people of the past.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel like people are just like, oh, well, nobody ever does anything for anybody. That is just not true. There is so much. You have no idea the amount of people that do things for other people that they don't want credit for.
Right.
There is so much good. With everything that's bad happening,
there's a lot of good.
There is so much good happening. There are people that have been in our community for decades that have put hundreds of kids through college. They don't want any credit for it. So just when you think everything's really, really bad, it's not.
Right.
There are some really good people. There are more good people out there than there are bad.
There are.
Yeah, and a lot of times they don't even want any recognition for anything.
No, they don't. They want to keep it quiet.
They want to keep it quiet.
You know, I understand.
Well, that's biblical. It's
biblical. Yeah,
don't let the right hand know what your left hand's doing, or whichever. It might be backwards. I can't remember which one, but yeah, there are a lot of people that do a lot of really good things for the community, and we don't want them. I mean, he's passed now. We don't want anybody to forget how we got shaped.
Right.
I'm a true believer in history. I do not believe you can erase your history. What happened.
Right.
You learn from it. You grow from it, and I think it's important. That's the whole reason why we wanted to do By the Way with Beth and Stacey.
That's right. Yeah, and it makes me think of that part in the Macklemore song, which I think is actually from like an old saying that I didn't know until I listened to the song. But he talks about everybody dies twice. You die your physical death, and then you die the second time. The last time your name is ever spoken is the second time you die. So as long as people are still talking about you and you're being mentioned from time to time, you're not dead. You're not truly dead.
Right.
So that's like an old wives' tale or something, I think. But it sounded good in the Macklemore lyryrics. I don't know how it goes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so Tyler would have to pull those up, I suppose. But yeah, it's just, we still want to talk about these guys. Keep their memory alive.
Absolutely. Men and women, because behind every good man's a great woman.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's why we just want to continue bringing stuff. And I really appreciate Mr. Duff. I
do too.
I read like whenever you, of course, being involved in the depot and you hear names, and the Duff, the Duff name is a common Clay County name, whether they may be related or not to the Clay City Duffs. But it is funny how they, like I said, I've walked past that man's picture in the library before and didn't really take
I
the
have
time.
too, and never really stopped to read the plaque.
Yeah, so from now on, like if you go into one of our older buildings, stop and read.
Right.
Stop and read what's happening.
There's a plaque there for a reason.
Right.
It's important information.
So I was going through a bunch of stuff, and I came across an article that I actually forgot that Bill Oliver was the Hometown Journal editor, along with Penny Dennison.
Penny Dennison was the, later on she was more like a publisher, but she was one of the owners later in the later years of the paper.
Linda
Mannering was the publisher.
I loved her. Gosh, they were they were just a good group, and I loved the Hometown Journal.
And Beth Cooper was the receptionist.
Beth Cooper
and columnist.
What?
Yes.
What?
Can't forget that. Come on now.
No, gosh, I can't imagine working with Bill Oliver every day.
Oh, it was a hoot.
I loved Bill Oliver. He was
it
literally
was a
one
hoot.
of my.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
I did Bill's hair. I loved Bill Oliver. He was great.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I found a bunch of. I've been helping my friend Paula Cooper clean out her mother Pat's house, and I came across a tote that was full of Hometown Journal. So I spent like 4.5 hours last night going through. Jim came home, was like, "My God, woman, what are you in?" I had like
black all over you. That's funny.
But I forgot about this. He did this thing called the Cornerstone. The Cornerstone in this paper. So I pulled it out, and what he did, it was like the Cornerstone by Bill Oliver. He's basically took like little excerpts? Is that the word I want to use, Beth? And just talked a little bit about what happened in the past. So I figured this is going to be a fun way to start filling in times for our thing. 1951, Flora soldier killed in action in Korean battle. Mr. and Mrs. Clyde Hoskins of Flora received word on Thursday, May 31st, 1951, from the Defense Department that their son Clyde Jr., age 17, had died May 23rd in Korea. Hoskins had been in the service for almost 2 years and had been overseas for 10 months, serving with an anti-aircraft outfit. He had expected to return home soon on rotation furlough.
That's heartbreaking.
17 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
That happened in 1951. Here's an interesting, 1951, total industrial payroll in Florida tops 1.5 million.
No kidding. What year was that?
1951.
1951? Wowzers.
The following figures were released in June of 1951 concerning the number of employees and yearly payrolls of Flora's industries. Here it breaks it down. Four Sisters Manufacturing Company, 140 to 150 employees, annual payroll of $275,000. Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, 185 employees, annual payroll of $600,000.
Yeah, those railroad people got paid well.
They did get paid well.
They deserved it.
Oh, yeah. Dowell, Inc., 30 employees, annual payroll of $140,000. Halliburton Oil Well Cementing Company, 70 employees, annual payroll in excess of $300,000. You guys, this is 1951.
They made good money, too.
Fabic Tractor Company. Never heard of that. Have you heard of that? I have not. 25 employees, annual payroll of $100,000. Schlumberger Well Service Corporation, 15 employees, annual payroll of $70,000. Total payoff for the industry was $1,545,000.
Wow, good for Flora. We had jobs. We had a lot of jobs. People were working.
51 was a good. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Let's see here. 1954, Lincoln's Grade School holds first graduation at McCabe. Lincoln Community Consolidated School observed the 4-year for the first time with its own 8th grade graduation exercises at McCabe Chapel Church on Friday, May 21st, 1954. With William Parrish serving as Master of Ceremonies, the commencement program included a march, invocation by Reverend Walter Taylor, address by Floyd C. Smith, music by the school's girls chorus music by the school girls chorus, presentation of diploma by Orrin Dennis, and benediction by Arthur Beckel. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. Yeah, these old newspapers, like,
it's fun.
Even though this one's only from like 2009, Like, it's crazy what you can dig up about history, just even from that time period.
Oh, yeah, because this is
the Hometown Journal loved history, too. So a lot of the stuff that they printed was about the
Very
history.
historical.
I mean, Linda Davidson had her articles that ran every week, and that was about the history of Sailor Springs. So most of what I know about Sailor Springs, I learned from Linda 20, 30 years ago. And she had great articles. And then Rena Lentz Thomas had her amazing articles that we pull information from still to this day all the time. And they ran each week, piecing together the past. And then,
oh, it's great.
And then there was Clay City News, Xenia News, all these other communities that had news and what a resource for people now.
And the other thing, and I had mentioned to Beth when we first started doing the show, like the Hometown Journal, had mystery pictures. I loved the mystery pictures.
So
they were great.
So they would show an old picture, an old photograph of someone from when they were young or a long time ago, and say, "Who's this?" And then the next week they would give you the answer, and you have to kind of remember, who is that? They look familiar, but it would be 50 years, or more, and you might be like, I can't remember who that is. And then sometimes they would cut out just your eyes off of a picture. Oh,
I had one of those. And my eyes were in there one time.
My eyes were in there too once, and it was like, whose eyes are these? And
yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah. Little fun things like that only a small hometown newspaper could do. You could never do that in Chicago.
I loved the Hometown Journal.
It was a great newspaper.
It was, not to take away from the other newspapers in town, but I looked forward to getting that paper.
Yep.
I absolutely looked forward to getting that paper.
Yep. Let's end this show with a quote or a rule to live by. What do you got for us?
Well, let's talk about little Michael Jordan here.
Oh, what's he got to say?
A quote from Michael Jordan.
Make shoes, earn money.
Greatest basketball player who ever lived. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Michael Jordan.
Words.
Bring it home, Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Which,
I love Michael Jordan. He was smart.
Also true.
Nobody can touch him.
You think?
Nobody can touch Michael Jordan's the best basketball player that's ever gone down in history. I think anyway. He was the first one that came up and did all that stuff. And he wasn't that LeBron James, well, he's 8 foot tall. Of course you can.
Yeah.
You ought to, you big baby. I'm sorry. I don't like LeBron. I don't like crybabies.
I don't know anything about either of them.
Michael Jordan went out on that floor. He played his game. He kept his cool. He walked off, and he was a team player, Michael Jordan was.
Okay, good.
Michael Jordan was a team player. Because
good for him.
LeBron
All
James.
I know about Michael Jordan is, connection to shoes and the fact that he did a commercial or something with Bugs Bunny, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he did. Space Jam.
Yeah.
Space Jam, a movie. Yeah, Michael Jordan's a great guy.
But
read about Michael Jordan. He will if he's a great man, and he's not afraid to tell you about his failures.
Yeah,
he's not afraid. He's like he didn't even make his high school basketball team.
No kidding.
No, he tried out for his high school basketball team. He didn't make his high school basketball team. No, he was. Read about Michael Jordan. He's a great. Another thing before we go, if you guys have can find the documentary about We Are the World, if there's a great documentary about how they made that the song We Are the World to feed Africa, and Michael Jackson's another one that I absolutely love and admire more than anything in the world. Michael Jackson was a great guy too.
Did you know why Prince he didn't show up to do We Are the World? Because
I'm not Prince.
I like Prince.
I'm not a
Prince fan. He didn't show up because he didn't like Michael Jackson.
Prince did not.
They replaced him at the last minute.
Prince did not like he wanted a guitar solo, and they said it's not that. Prince also did not want to be in the same room with everybody else. He wanted his own room.
Can we say ego?
Ego, yeah, not a Prince. I was on the line with Prince. I was like, yeah, he's talented and everything. After watching that, I'm like, no, not a Prince fan at all.
We got to stop talking about him because I don't want anything we say to soil my memories of him.
Well,
because I thought he was nice.
He's not.
People, they just disappoint you.
They disappoint. Prince will be disappointed too, but not Michael Jackson.
Okay.
All right, that's it. We're done.
We're done. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining us.
God bless you and have a great day.